Hi friends, this is Sarah from Crafting and Relaxing. Welcome. Thanks so much for joining me for the next July daily video. I'm guessing that if you're watching this video, you saw the starting of this book in June and July. So if this is your very first one, you might want to go back. I am finally sewing my journal together. Remember, I'm a rookie. This is only the second multi-signature book that I have ever done. So what I'm doing is making the template so that I can get my holes in the pages and the cover in the same place. The first time I made a template, I thought I'm going to use 110-pound cardstock so I can save it and it'll last forever. No, use like a medium weight paper. If it's too thick, it's hard to fold and work with. If it's too thin, you probably won't make it through the end. My last multiple signature journal, and a signature is the clump of folded pages, the signatures didn't line up in the book. So I'm fiddling, I'm trying to learn from that and prevent it. In the end, they don't line up all that well in this one either, but I still love it. I use embroidery floss to sew my journals together, and it's probably not a lifetime quality book, but it seems to work for me. Maybe it stretches a little much. I don't know. I also use it because I have a ton of it. It comes in so many colors. What I've done is taken that piece of paper, marked it as well as I could. Now I have my first signature and I'm fiddling with it. This is the one I've already journaled in. And if you're trying to learn from this video, I have an earlier series where I show you a one signature journal and it's slow and I talk you through it. This one is so you can see a multi-signature in a hurry, and maybe so people with experience can be entertained, because I'm not good at this. This is not something that I have a lot of experience in. The other reason that I decided to share this footage with you is so that people who think they can't, you know you can. You just take paper and glue and go from there, and you can make a journal if you want. It doesn't have to be purchased at a store, nothing. I have a needle that's probably way too long, but I like the head of it and it's not too fat. I have a needle that's shorter, that's super fat and hard to get through and makes too big a hole, so I don't like it. But you can see how I do it. And again, I do have a slower one. I'm really good at going from right to left because I'm super right-handed. I'm not as good at going from left to right. If I wasn't doing this for you, I would have turned the book upside down a whole bunch, and the camera is right overhead, so it's a little tricky because I can't lean in or you see my hair. I tried to edit out all the times you just saw my hair and just general fiddling with papers. And then it's about 6 times. So if you want to see it slow, you're welcome to slow it down. That plastic sheet that I put in there, I was nearly regretting it by the time I had this journal sewed together. It really fought me. Really fought me. So I had my thread through the other one a little bit. I had to fix that. I almost sewed my tag in to the binding. Didn't mean to do that. So I'm just going through each one of them. In a perfect world, I would have kept them clipped and my needle would just pop through, and I don't know. It doesn't seem to be how it works for me, but I just fiddle with it and work through it. Also, I traditionally put my strings on the inside, which means you start sewing on the inside. And on this one, I definitely wanted my strings on the outside, and that's something I'm just now getting better at. So it changes the sequence, the in and the out. And I kept going to pick up the pages to start, and you start on the outside of the journal. Here, what I'm trying to show you is, see that slack, that 1/2 inch? You want to check and fix all of that stuff page by page before you tie. Now you can untie if you haven't cut off your strings like me. You can untie and retie, and I probably will. Once this is all done, I'll tighten those strings up. But every once in a while you get a loop or some slack, and then it messes you up. So you definitely want to look through every page before you cut your strings off. Here we're moving on to the second signature. I have not journaled on this. What I learned from this is put all your mixed media messes, play, do everything, then sew your journal together. That first signature was so hard to get sewed in with all of that weight in it and thickness. So I don't know. I'm still experimenting and learning, but I think I will sew my journals together and then put the bulk in them. But I see things I want to try and then they're already sewed together. You know, if once you sew it in, you have to allow dry time by page, and it's much harder if you try and run it through the sewing machine. And I don't think I won't do it, but it is harder. So here I'm getting it all ready. This one's going pretty well. It's not nearly as fat. Now somehow in using my template, and it could be because the heights of my pages are all different. This is a junk journal, right? My signatures in the end when I get them in the book don't line up very well. And I might show you that, but if nothing else, we can do it in a final flip through. And then here, something goes terribly wrong. So watch how I'm doing this and don't do it. I kind of went from the right, then I went from the left, and then I went back down. So watch what happens after I tie this in and start looking. And I slowed it down for you. This page that I love has the lace and the tape. It's not sewed in. So at this point, I have to stop and think about, do I want to redo this? Any other time, it wouldn't have mattered one single bit to me. But my sister's birthday is in July. And I had planned I don't usually plan, but that was the one page that I thought, oh, great, it's going to land on that and I'll like it. In the end, I set it aside and just decided to keep going and sew it together. It was the only page that didn't get grabbed, essentially, and it was the very center page of the signature. It must have just slipped a little because I probably didn't keep my clips on, right? So just, this is a great example of learning from me. You should probably be really careful about multi-signature books from me. But look how cute it is. And I used 2 different blues, and in the end, I'm going to use 3 different blues. Then I'm doing my 3rd signature, and on my 3rd signature, I'm trying to compensate for the fact that my first signature was sewed high in the book, my second one was sewed low. I started to do it, and then I realized I was going to do it again. I was going to perpetuate the problem. So I punched another hole. Essentially, I sewed it in, tightened it up, and went, oh, that's not going to work. So now I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing wrong. At the top of the template, there's a 1/4 inch gap, and it marks the difference between the cover and where the pages go. And I think I have a tendency to overlook that or get sidetracked by all the moving parts. I think in the first signature, I was so busy trying to deal with the bulk. Look how fast this one goes. I mean, I know it's sped up, but still. It took me over an hour to sew it together, the whole book. I told Mr. Crafting and Relaxing, oh, I'm going to go do something. I think it'll take me about a half an hour. No. Fabric and all of those different size pages, that makes it more complex. Those little journals that I make where the pages are mostly the same size and same texture, much easier. But you have to branch out. I'm not sorry I did this. I love it. I'm very happy with this book. You could use this exact concept starting with the June videos and going forward. You could do it in November and December and use it and make yourself amazing December daily. You don't have to go buy anything. You don't have to do a thing. You have everything. You could use, instead of using so many fancy papers like I had from the kit with Melodi. Remember, this is a collaboration with Making Memories with Melodi here on YouTube, and she does fancy flow kits, which are wonderful. But instead of using all of that, you could start gathering envelopes, paper bags, junk mail, red envelopes that come, green envelopes, postage stamps in your house, and have everything for an awesome December daily. Who knows? Maybe I'll do that too. Then I'm tying my very last signature in, and I'm super excited. I'm going to show you some flip throughs at the end and some process. There's a lot of stuff in this. Okay, now we're starting the process. The book is sewed together, and I believe we're working on the 14th because we did up through the 13th last time. Yep, July 14th. And I tried to write the days of the week because I just get confused, and I edited out all the parts where I went and double checked, yes, I'm writing the right date. And what I'm writing on is Melodi sent me Happy Mail, and she took a napkin and glued it to the giant flat envelope and added glitter, a couple different glitters. It was gorgeous. And so I used it to make a journaling card for this book. It went really well with that almost periwinkle spray that was on the page, and I just loved it. I will mix and match all the blues, but purpley blue and true blues, I try not to put those together because it just makes the blues look too purple. So these two together were great. And then I was trying to find a way to make my 14 pop. And I found 4th of July washi tape in the cupboard. I don't know why it wasn't out earlier, somewhere in the last week. So I've started using that also. I'm just sort of fiddling, but I don't want to overthink it. You know, I could look all day, then somehow I get sidetracked by the red ink. I could look all day for things to layer up the 14 with, and I just say, that's enough. And glue it down. I do take a black pen and outline it later. You can see that, I think, in the flip through. Then I'm looking for textiles. In the kit from Melodi, she had that red stuff, and it has wire in the middle. It makes an absolutely fabulous pull tab. I didn't realize that when I cut it with my sewing scissors, but that's okay. If you have things that have wire in the middle like that, like wired ribbon, I usually don't like it in crafts, but fabulous for pull tabs. Here in that, I made the pocket. It was the envelope that I bought stamps in, another example of fun things you can keep for your junk journals. My white pen quit. We'll cross that bridge later. The Signo pens, the white ones are my favorite, but still, it gives me attitude sometimes. I'm going through and laying out the numbers and fiddling. I tried to cut out a bunch of that for you. I found that 21 we made on the 12th and shoved it in there. This blue circle with all this stuff, I made that one day, and it's been floating around my craft room, and it just didn't work for anything. And I was like, oh, here it is. It had been bothering me. It was too much blue. It didn't have enough contrast. It was perfect for this. Then I got out the punches, and I'm punching the journaling card that I'm going to put in that pocket, and I apologize for being off camera. One of the punches isn't great, so I figured that out and switched them. They're exactly the same. That's what happens when you shop garage sales and stuff, right? You end up with funny stuff that's the same. Then I got some ink and stamps. I noticed my journaling cards were getting a little plain later in the book. Maybe I did mixed media in the beginning. And these are kind of boring days because it's during the week. I'm working at my computer all day and things are going on around me. Nothing too exciting. I like putting my journaling on the backside in case I have something really exciting, but then I didn't do it off camera so you could read it anyway. I don't know. I'm not sure what my logic was. Somehow that tag was messed up. I don't know if the paper was already messed up before I made the tag, but it has adhesive on the back. We're crafters. I just covered it up, but I used stickers because I wanted it to be flat to go in and out. That ticket spoke to me, and I just slapped it down and put the date on it and loved it. The iridescent numbers go with the foiling on that page really well. That pocket was special paper that came and said, I'm easy to foil. So I handed it over the fence to Noni a while ago, and she foiled it for me, and I love it. And some of it she had problems with. It didn't work that well, but I love the parts that are even her rejects. I thought they were gorgeous. And the paper that I put in the stamps envelope is just scrapbook paper. I think it's Pebbles, and I love it. I might journal on the tone-on-tone red side. I might add it. I might leave it just the way it is. Paper makes me happy. I just put it in there. And I used a bunch of textiles from Melodi's kit on that tag on the last page. Here, it's another paper that I like, and I'm tearing a pocket. I'm actually going at a pretty good clip. I mean, I think this is like 6 times or 4 times sped up, but still, the stuff's coming to me, and I'm saying, okay, I'm tired of this book, right? Because I just spent over an hour all in the same day sewing it together. That tag needed something. That's one thing to think about. If you're going to tuck your tags at the bottom, you want to put your decoration up a little higher so it looks good when it goes on your page. I wasn't really thinking about that when I was making tags. I had this Uncle Sam hat that I didn't really like, but it was great for a pop for the 17. And then I put a jar full of embellishments on it and later spilled them. Here I'm just trying to add some interest to the back of the tag again. And I can fill up the space or adapt probably anyway, right? Just writing about life in July. Furloughs, working from home, trying to have contractors in your house during COVID. It's kind of a fascinating world we're living in. And I'm probably not putting enough detail about what it's really like. Had we done this project in April, it would have been more surprising to us. I think if somebody older reads this and they don't remember this time, they won't understand how little we're leaving our houses, or, yes, you can get something from the bakery, but no, you can't set foot in the bakery. It's just a very different time. Like we talked about eating out in our cars in the last video. Then I put some glue on that hat just because stickers sometimes in a journal where you're moving things around, it can't hurt to have some glue. Then I realized I hadn't cut any of my envelopes, so I punched on that one. And that was a bag that scrapbooking stuff came in. I really don't throw things away if they're a color I like. If they're green, I give them to Andrea. And if they're red or blue, I keep them. But again, that's why my junk journaling supplies get out of hand. You have to actually stop and make junk journal stuff. On this page, one thing I did when you weren't looking was I took a piece of scrapbook paper, I put a tiny bit of score tape down in the corner and then stapled it, 3 tiny staples on each pointy end onto that clear plastic page. I thought I would want more journaling space, and so I made it for a tuck. I don't know if I'll use it. Then Melodi had those little things in the kit, and I put a US sticker on it, and then I put the 18 on top of it. Somebody in Happy Mail, I'm so sorry, and I know it's somebody who takes really good care of me and sends me wonderful stuff, but I don't want to name a name, sent me that black envelope with the blue star on it, and it was just so cute. I worked it into the journal. Had to have it in here. So you'll see it and know it's from you, and I'm sorry that I don't remember who right now. This page, I wanted to journal right on the tea dye because this was a busy day. We saw people that we love that we haven't seen in a while, and we sold the Pooh Bear couch, which was a little bit sad, but you work through it, right? And so I wanted to use the actual page. And in making this journal, I lost the stamp that makes those 3 stars in a row. I still haven't found it. I have a bad feeling it fell in the garbage because I saw something do that the other day and snatched it out and went, I probably set that stamp there. But ironically, we have 2 sets of those Dina Wakley stamps, so I have another one. We're good. Don't worry. Then I had this stamp set out and I was thinking about this day to use it on, but the page got a little full and I wasn't sure if it was going to work, and it wasn't going to give the weight to the stamp that I wanted. This page is the same exact tea-dyed paper, but of course it's a different color, and it has overspray on it. So just a way to accent it instead of trying to stamp it on the page. This is an old Personal Stamp Exchange stamp. They're very detailed, and I just figured it wouldn't stamp well on the page, so I glued it down. And I love how it turned out. It says, "We do not remember days, we remember moments." And I may not remember that whole day, but I'll remember that people that I love came over and visited and brought candy and cookies, right? And picked up a card that was super important to me. I thought that was a fun one. Even in quarantine, things are happening. And we were outside. We didn't go in the house or anything. So weird. Visiting is weird. This one, I'm just layering a bunch of fun stuff from the counter. Though that star tag with the thing through it was in the kit of awesome 4th of July baked goods, I don't know, that Katie gave me earlier. And the rubber band was still on those dozen stars, so I got into those. I collect everything that's red, white, and blue, and turns out I'm not very good about keeping it all in the same place. I think it's probably like if you were doing a December daily and you wanted it all red and green, you keep all your Christmas stuff together, but you do have amazing red and green ephemera pieces and glitter and all sorts of things. And you don't sort everything in your craft room by color. I added that red stamp just to give the 1 and the 9 a pop so that it didn't match either one of them and it helped, and just for fun. Then I wanted, on the background page, it was way too plain. So I got out a stamp and some red ink, and I was trying to give a place for the crafting and relaxing sticker to pop. Then I did another page while I had the ink and the stamp out, because I know there are some really plain pages later. Just like mixed media, if you're inked up and ready to go, use it. So this day was Sunday, and today is a fun day of crafting and relaxing. And I started that with a black pen that I got in my Scrapping for Less April kit, and it's really cool. I didn't want to write with it the whole time because it takes a while to dry, but it is almost like embossing. It's thick. I don't know if it's a souffle pen or what. If it matters that much to you, you can leave a comment and I'll find it. So here we're just doing the flip through. I'm going back through. You can see I went around the 14. I might take a black pen and hit that page some more. I will absolutely glue chunky embellishments, stars, all sorts of things I've spilled all over the counter and lost as we go through. This page is super plain. I don't know where it's headed, but it needs more to me. This one probably too. Remember, I probably have 20 or 30 tiny stars all over the counter, so plenty of opportunity to add. And I'll probably put something in that red envelope. I love the journaling page how it is. I probably won't add anything to there. We do not remember days. And the overspray is fabulous. It doesn't show very well. And those US stickers that's behind the 18, those came in that food kit from Joanne too. I think what happened was Katie went in and there was 4th of July stuff on clearance and she got it for me. And I'll use everything out of them, except there is a little tag that says made especially for you. And I might only use that with a journal or a card. I'm not going to put it in my journal. Look, I put joy behind there. The joy came from another one of you wonderful people in Happy Mail too. And I can't remember. It might have been Susie. I'm not sure. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure and take a look at Melodi's video too. Bye-bye.